I want to thank everybody for coming. My name is Bruce Starr. I'm a talk radio show host, for those of you who don't know me, and for the folks out in video land there. I'm so honored to be able to introduce Dr. Joel Wallach, and for so many reasons. One of the main reasons is that Dr. Joel Wallach was my first sponsor on my first radio show 25 years ago. And we sort of, not that we started together, because you were...
We bonded.
We bonded right away, and we helped build each other's reputations and businesses. You helped me. I was on the air for 2 years with you. Mm-hmm. And we found each other again at a recent expo, and it's just been great having you in my life again, and you've been so beneficial to me, being a sponsor and a supporter of my show that was on 95.9 FM. So I want to just thank you again for coming down to South Florida, and I appreciate it. I'm going to put this on you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Joel Wallach.
Thank you. I do want to correct my name, though. I am Rocky Balboa. And of course, I was an athlete in junior high and high school and University of Missouri, and so I'm going to talk about health and fitness and exercise, if that's okay with you guys. And obviously involves a lot of musculoskeletal stuff, and we'll talk about that and energy and these kinds of things, and we'll have a Q&A sort of as we go along here. Okay, basically what makes me different is I do have a degree in agriculture. I'm a veterinarian. I have a postdoctoral fellowship, the equivalent of a PhD in pathology. And I also am a primary care physician as a naturopathic physician licensed in Oregon and California. So I have those 4 degrees. And my thesis for my project, for my postdoctoral fellowship, which encompassed University of Missouri, Iowa State University, and Washington University. And my thesis was 20,000 autopsies, 10 million chemistries, 10 million slides of special stains, looking for pollution as a contributor to causes of death from natural causes. To make a long story short, the finding was that pollution had nothing to do with deaths from natural causes. Genetics had nothing to do to deaths from natural causes. Regardless of the species, all vertebrates were dealing with nutritional deficiencies. Every disease you can name, except for obviously trauma and infections and things like that, but all of the pre-existing conditions kind of things are all due to nutritional deficiencies. And that was why I got my 1,200-page thesis into a hardcover book. It's in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure, and I'm very, very proud of that. Then went on to become a primary care physician, so I could use that information to help people. Like I said, I did letter in junior high and high school and university in wrestling and football. I only weighed 110 pounds, but I had some advantages at 110 pounds in that I was taking all the known essential nutrients per pound of body weight. All vertebrates, and that came out of my study. It's the reason why my thesis, aka book, is in the Smithsonian Institute as a national treasure. My thesis showed that all vertebrates require 90 essential nutrients, thus the 90. And the 90 essential nutrients are 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. And if you're missing any of these, or they're less than optimal amounts, you're going to get diseases. That's what it amounts to. And this is called epigenetics. There are no genetically transmitted diseases. Your genes, DNA, RNA, and telomeres do require minerals and vitamins and amino acids and fatty acids to do their jobs, because genes, DNA, RNA, and telomeres are just blueprints. They cannot make things without the raw materials. So we get ourselves into trouble when we're deficient, and unfortunately you cannot get everything you need from your food. I don't care how well you eat, I don't care how much money you spend for food. Trying to get everything you need by eating well would be the equivalent to putting dirt from Texas, 6 quarts of dirt from Texas in your car, and assuming there's going to be some oil in that dirt from Texas because it's dirt from Texas. Now, an insane person wouldn't do that to their car, but you do that to your body all the time. I'm eating well, bam, you're dead. Okay, so it's that simple. Okay? Well, athletes have a great place. They get to do what they love. They love their sports, and they especially in high school and university and Olympics and professional athletes. I mean, they get paid to do what they love to do. Now, athletes, you'd think they're fit, they exercise, they eat well, they have dietitians, they have personal trainers, they have sports medicine doctors. This is an ideal profession when you're dealing with athletes. However, there's a negative. The average lifespan, when you take all professional athletes, when you take all professional sports combined, the average lifespan is 62, except for football is 51. Now, you've all heard of sudden death in athletes. Every sport, cheerleaders, every sport, whether it's gymnastics or track or basketball or football or boxing or wrestling, bodybuilding. In America, each year, about 20,000 athletes, from little Pee Wee League guys to Pop Warners to junior high, high school, professional, Olympics, and so forth, university athletes, they die, they just drop dead. They're dead before they hit the ground. Okay, and these are caused by nutritional deficiencies. Okay, I actually did 1,700 autopsies on kids under the age of 10 that died of this one particular deficiency, causes sudden hypertrophic cardiomyopathy heart disease. You're dead before you hit the ground. When you see an athlete that dies suddenly in practice or on the field or after they go home after the day of playing, they die at home, these are caused by deficiency of a single nutrient. This is published work, 1,700 autopsies. If all athletes were to take the 90 essential nutrients and avoid certain inflammatory bad foods, this would never happen. It's just that simple. And we've eliminated all these diseases in animals, livestock, because we don't have health insurance for them. Health insurance was the worst possible thing for human health, because doctors don't want to cure you. They want to be paid every month by the insurance, and so they just treat your symptoms. There's only one pharmaceutical class, antibiotics, that actually cure diseases. Pharmaceuticals that are antibiotics can cure syphilis, salmonella, staph, strep, bacterial pneumonia, bacterial meningitis, but that's it. All other prescription drugs are designed to relieve symptoms. One pain reliever now, called opioids, is very popular, and in 2015, 52,000 Americans died from overdoses. They were primarily teenagers dying from overdoses of opioids, prescription opioids. And what do we do? What do we do? Well, stop prescribing the damn things. It's that simple. But they're so good as pain relievers. Well, there's a lot of pain relievers that are not addictive, do a better job actually than opioids. But doctors purposely prescribe addictive drugs so you keep coming back every month to renew your prescription because you're now addicted. My doctor wouldn't do that. I love my doctor. Bam! You're dead. Okay? And so, in addition to fitness and exercise, people need to pay attention to the 90 essential nutrients. 60 minerals, 16 vitamins, 12 amino acids, 3 fatty acids. We actually have a sports drink. I'll tell you about some of the athletes I dealt with. And our sports drink was invented for a guy by the name of Theo Ratliff. He played basketball for the Atlanta Hawks. You may remember his name, yeah. And a wonderful guy. I met him 20 years ago when he had lost his position on the Atlanta Hawks because he had bone-to-bone arthritis in both his knees and his cartilage popped off his hip, and he caught a pass during a regulation game, broke his wrist, and they said, this guy's too fragile to play professional sports. And he was given the bum's rush and told he couldn't play anymore and took his contract away. And Andy Young from the Civil Rights Movement, also the mayor of Atlanta at that time, he was the ambassador to the United Nations under President Jimmy Carter. I had rebuilt his knees. He had bone-to-bone arthritis and didn't want the surgery, so I rebuilt his knees, helped him regrow his cartilage, and he was always sending people to me. Well, he sent Theo Ratliff to me, so I said, yes, I can help you. And we gave him a program which we now call today the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack. It's designed for all musculoskeletal things. And it's designed to support and promote maintenance and repair of cartilage, ligaments, tendons, connective tissue, disc between the vertebrae, bone matrix, bone itself. And we deal with all musculoskeletal things, everything ranging from arthritis to trauma, fractures. I see a lot of Special Forces guys, a lot of Navy SEALs, rebuild them. But Theo Ratliff was a fun guy, 6'11", I'm only 5'6", so we had a lot of fun together. I rebuilt his knees and his hip and got his bones strong enough to where in 90 days after we met, he was able to go back and get his position. They gave him all the tests and everything. He passed them with flying colors. And one of the things I did was invent a sports drink for him called Rebound. It has 100 nutrients in it, including the nutrients necessary to prevent sudden heart death in athletes, sudden death from ruptured aneurysms, which happens unfortunately too often in young athletes. And he's one of our spokespersons. He's a great trainer and teacher for our longevity associates and customers and young athletes all over the world. And to make a long story short, when he got his position back at the Hawks, his first 3-year contract was $40 million. And he made a lot more than that over the next 11 years that he played, and he retired from the LA Lakers. And his wife, Christina, loves me. Yeah, they're a great couple, and their daughter is 6'2", and so it's just really a beautiful couple and beautiful family. Just love them to pieces, and like I say, he's a great spokesman for us. Another individual I helped who was an athlete was a lady by the name of Delisha Jones. She was with his women's Olympic basketball team that won the 3 Olympics in a row over a 15-year or 12-year period, whatever it was. And she was with him in the first 2 Olympics, and she got gold medals with the rest of the team. And then training for the 3rd one, she tore her hamstring and her Achilles tendon on the right side, and the surgeons that put her back together said, look, these are such catastrophic injuries, we recommend you not play anymore. Training is too rough. If you tear these again, we will not be able to help you. You'll spend the rest of your life in a wheelchair. Well, she went to Andy Young, and he said, well, the only person who might be able to help you is Wallach. So she came to see me now. She's 6'5". Okay. And a great, lovely lady, and she always wears 8-inch high heels. Okay, so now she's 7'2". And so to make a long story short, rebuilt her and she got her 3rd gold medal. Okay, and so she's a great volunteer coach for women athletes that we deal with. And then there's another woman athlete by the name of Kelly Herron from the University of Memphis. She was an All-American basketball player on their basketball team. And halfway through her 2 years with them, and she was an All-American because she could hit the 3-pointers from half court with one hand 9 out of 10 times. And she had a teammate, Jenny Jackson, who, and both of them are like 6'2", and she would feed her the ball. They knew each other so well, she knew how to feed her the ball so she could make that shot, and they were just a great little couple, so to speak, or teammates. But Ms. Kelly, at the end of the 2 years, she had torn the labrum on her rotator cuff, and she couldn't raise her hand above her waist. She said, well, I don't want the surgery, and all the surgeons are gathering around. They want to be the one to do this labrum rotator cuff surgery on an All-American athlete, right? And she said, no, I'm not going to do surgery. I just want to rest it out a little bit, see if just resting it will heal it. Well, it just got worse and worse and worse. So one of her friends brought her to one of my lectures, and she came up to me, and she says, I'm not interested in magic berries and beans and things. I said, well, no, we're a little beyond that. And she decided to try it, and in 90 days she was able to do everything perfectly again, hit her shots, and went back and did her thing for a while. Now she's one of our distributors and just a great volunteer coach with Mike Glenn from the Atlanta Hawks. He was the stinger. Mike Glenn actually hit jump shots, and he holds the record with the Hawks for the jump shot 2-pointers. And he had to quit after like 6 years of playing with him, I believe, because he had bone-to-bone arthritis in his knees. If I had your healthy bone and joint pack, I'd still be playing basketball for the Hawks. He said, because I rebuilt him. But he volunteer coaches for deaf basketball camps. And Miss Kelly Herron, the one from the University of Memphis, the All-American girl, she volunteers with him because there are a lot of girls and boys in that deaf basketball camp. So we have a lot of great stuff these athletes do. But the most remarkable thing they do for these other athletes they train is they make sure they're taking their 90 essential nutrients. They're using the Rebound with 100 nutrients in it instead of the Gatorade with 2 and Powerade with 6. There's some tragic stories you have to hear, and then I'll open it up for questions at this point after this tragic story.